Hello, everyone. Sorry for the tech issues here. We will make most of the remaining time, which is around 36 minutes or 46 minutes. And we will be introducing our great panelists in not chronological order, but probably for need order, since we had these issues that we apologize for. My name is Hayel Sinnoqrot. I'm the founder of Helvetium and Digital Bees, and honored to be on this panel. We will have Zara Zamani, Thessy Mehrain, Lindsay Nuon, Reema Diab as well. We started with Reema, and she introduced her Galaxy NGO. So we will recap on that quickly so Reema can introduce her work and herself for 3 minutes. After all the introductions of all the great panelists, we'll have an open session for 20 minutes with the panelists, a wrap up, and questions and answers for 10 minutes. So we will start with Reema now.
Okay. Shall we start, Hayel?
Yes, please. We'll start with Reema, then Zara, then again Thessy, Lindsay.
طيب. Actually, I founded Galaxy organization, and it's non-profit organization to empower women and youth through technology. We are focusing in 3 main pillars in women and kids and the youth. And we have a major issue here in Jordan that the percentage of participation of women in workforce, it is the lowest in the region. Even though we have the highest rate of the education system output from women, but the woman doesn't going with the participation in the workforce because of several issues. So Galaxy give this kind of to fill the gap between the education system and the market needs, and to raise the awareness regarding the future skills of artificial intelligence and fourth industry revolution skills from coding, blockchain, IoT, and AI. So when we came up with Galaxy, we came up with numbers that we have reached over 1,012 youth in the refugees camps, and which is Jordanian hosts the highest percentage of the refugees. So how we can fill the gap between the education and the market needs, we came up with Galaxy. From my previous experience, I came from telecom industry. I was the CEO of Alcatel. I was the CEO of Nokia. So I came up with my experience to put it in Galaxy organization and to create several facts that we have to enhance the skills of youth and women with the technology, and how to make sustainable entrepreneurship projects to be with the SDGs in general. So Galaxy actually now have her branch in Jordan, and we established in 2015. And actually we already have employed around 25% of our women who trained with our program, because it filled the market needs. And when we came up with our achievement, we have this kind of collaboration between test.
Looks like Reema is frozen.
And our youth. So this kind of collaboration and partnership came up with a whole project to have this kind of tech skills to be achieved with Galaxy, and to be inseparable with our youth here in Jordan and women. The lowest percentage of women came up that these women need how to create their entrepreneur skills, how to make their projects, especially that tech will, with COVID-19, came up with several solutions, but you need to enhance their skills in tech industry. This is what we did. Yeah.
Okay, I think you're freezing a little bit, Reema. Sorry, can you repeat last sentence, please? Last 10 seconds.
Yeah. I mentioned that the mission of Galaxy, that we have technology for all, especially in the people in the remote area and the vulnerable areas. That's why Galaxy mission came up with technology for all, how to enhance the skills of youth and women to be aware of the fourth revolution industry skills from IoT, AI, and blockchain, and how to make these kind of skills match with the market needs in the Jordanian market and the global market. It's good.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Reema. It's been a delight to get to know you recently, and I'm looking forward to having a fruitful, insightful discussion later on today. We go on our next panelist, who is Zara. Zara is the excuse me. Zara is the head of disruptive technologies at MetaBytes. She works in digital transformation. She's a natural problem solver and blockchain solution architect. Zara, please take the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So, yeah, I work as head of disruptive technologies at MetaBytes, and MetaBytes is an IT consultancy firm with quite a strong portfolio with disruptive tech and emerging tech, especially AI and blockchain. And I'm also a researcher and lecturer at Halmstad University in Sweden. I'm an Iranian in Sweden, so my research area is also on blockchain adoption in small and medium enterprises. So as you can see from my work and my research, most of my work within blockchain world is within enterprise solutions and, you know, designing a solution to enterprise problems. And well, what I do basically in my daily work is we often have partner clients in our portfolio of clients, and I usually come into the picture as digital transformation strategies, designing, you know, digital transformation roadmaps, and then identifying the tools that is required to solve specific problems, and then keeping the ones that are especially around blockchain with myself, because I'm in my expertise, technical expertise, I'm a blockchain architect myself. And basically we choose the right fit technology for the right fit problem. And so far we've been working with multiple projects in blockchain. It's not necessarily always a private blockchain as well. So it's either private, public, or sometimes the hybrid solution, but within supply chain industry, within energy distribution, healthcare and telemedicine, and sustainability and water consumption monitoring in food production. So yeah, that is a little bit about who I am and what I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Zara. We have the next Iranian German, based in the US, working with Consensus, incubated with Consensus, and spun off recently. On the stage, we have Thessy.
Yeah, hi, my name is Thessy Mehrain, and like Hayel said, I'm German-Iranian. I moved to the US to study, and now I'm living in New York. Yes, I am with Consensus, and we're just spinning out. Liquality was a project that was incubated in Consensus, and Consensus is the biggest blockchain software company to date. And before I was with Consensus, which I started in 2016, I was at JP Morgan's Corporate and Investment Bank creating trading products. And I also started Women in Blockchain in 2016. And just a little bit more to Liquality. So Liquality, we at Liquality are a very diverse team, and we believe that everyone should be able to take part in the digital economy. We are a peer-to-peer project. It's open source. We have created a multi-asset crypto wallet that is swap enabled. For example, you can swap between Bitcoin and Ether. Those are blockchains that are usually incompatible. So we have created technology to make these different blockchains compatible and to be able to have this one wallet as an interface to, in the future, all different types of blockchains, hold all your wallet, all your value there, and then also be able to swap. And that's only the beginning of a financial infrastructure that we're building. And since it's open source, we are also incentivizing, we're working on a token right now, and we will also be incentivizing developers to build on top of what we have already built. So it's a pretty cool project. Check it out, liquality.io.
Thank you, Thessy. Looking forward to learning more about Liquality and explore any synergies, how we could be of support to you. Next on stage is Lindsay from Google. She works in cyber sector, and we would love to learn more about where you are, how you reached here, and then after that, after Lindsay, we will start the open discussion.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate all of the organizers putting together this forum. My name is Lindsay Nuon, and I am I'm currently a technical program manager at Google. As Hayel said, I have a unique role where I sit at the intersection of Google and our investment, Waymo, to spearhead their cybersecurity strategy and make sure that they are maturing at the rate that is on par with the industry threats and risks that are faced. My background is in cybersecurity. I've been in the industry for about almost 19 years now across government, large, small startups, and venture-backed public and private companies. And I think that diversity of perspective is what really helps me, be effective in my role, understanding the threat landscape, whether that's in large organizations or smaller, smaller entities. I also had the pleasure of going on a humanitarian mission in Southeast Asia and speaking at the UN and the Dhaka Global Dialogue about how we're leveraging blockchain technology and other emerging tech to address the sustainable development goals. It is a deep-seated passion of mine as a woman of color, and a veteran in this space, which led me to found Woman of Color in Blockchain. And I've really enjoyed, again, just being at the intersection of how technology can shape and be the catalyst to social justice initiatives. I think the critical factor toward that success has really been learning how to identify and address emerging risks at the same pace as we're innovating. And I'm excited for the dialogue. I really would love to dive in and explore all of the different perspectives of the other panelists and the attendees for the conference. So definitely excited for the discussion.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. You just mentioned a very interesting phrase, social justice. And if we link it with what Thessy just mentioned, inclusion, and why she created Liquality, this is something we need to know, which Reema briefly discussed and gave a light on her empowerment of women and bridging the digital gap, and what Zara is restlessly doing in terms of sustainability and problem solving. So let's elaborate more, talking with Lindsay now, and how you and Zara see, for example, social justice compared to what the others are doing. Let's say from Zara's perspective, where you see social justice in sustainability, or in what Reema is doing as an NGO to empower women, or what Thessy is incredibly doing amazing project that span off from consensus and doing this decentralization and scaling up their solutions. So please elaborate more on what you mean by social justice and why you're so passionate about this topic and where you're heading. Where are those investments going?
I'll definitely let Zara field this one first because I know she's on a time crunch. So.
Yeah, so okay, I thought the question is actually to Thessy first, but then never mind, I can start. Yeah, but that's fine.
Sure.
So coming back to the subject of social justice, in my introduction, I said I'm an Iranian in Sweden, and I intentionally wanted to say that because that relates a lot to the social justice, right? And I have worked in 12 countries, lived in 12 countries, and have experience of working in all Asian countries, the European countries, and Gulf countries as well. And they have been treated very differently in different regions I've been to, and have been having access to services differently as well. Sometimes for where I come from, sometimes for who I am, sometimes for my color, sometimes for my gender, sometimes, for different purposes, reasons. And of course, that starts from an individual level, going all the way to enterprise and organization level, right? So, whether even today I'm working in Sweden and within the Swedish market, which you probably think the Scandinavian market is one of the most sustainable and most advanced countries in social justice. There is still a lot of injustice that we see in our daily business, either towards individuals or towards organizations, etc. However, whether I think technology or emerging technology is going to have a say on solving a lot of problems or not, yes, I do believe that they can. There's a lot of potential, but whether it will happen sooner or later, that is probably a question mark for me myself, because even though I work with the technology like blockchain, which I don't consider blockchain like any other normal technology, I always say blockchain is a very political technology because it brings all this injusticeness up and shows it to the world, right? It brings all this unfairness up and shows it to the world. And that's why it becomes very political. It's about balancing all this power and making everything transparent. So definitely the technology has potential to fix it, but there's always, other motives behind letting it or not letting it happen in the matter of time, which is, power distribution, which is control, which is politics, which is financial driven motives, etc. So, but at the end of the day, we want it or not, it will happen eventually. Like if you look at where the world is standing today with social justice compared to where we were 10 years ago, and how much we have moved with aid of technology, even in countries that a lot of accesses are banned. Therefore, you can definitely say that emerging technologies are playing the biggest role among all the players towards promoting social justice, for sure.
Thank you, Lindsay. I do share some of your experiences. I was born in Saudi Arabia from a Palestinian father and Syrian mother. Both countries are also challenged by financial inclusion, by warfares, by misuse of technologies also to a certain extent, which we discussed. And we don't want to be politically incorrect here, putting lots of politics influence in this. And I also live between US, UK, Switzerland, Taiwan, and Ukraine, and totally agree with you that wherever you live, you do reflect or receive certain social injustice yourself, and you see it also scaling up. And hopefully by using such certain technologies, we can expose that to tackle such challenges. Something we also discussed with Thessy and Reema yesterday, how political blockchain is. For example, Reema mentioned yesterday a few things about if donations are in cryptocurrencies, how the Jordanian regulations are for this. And I will leave that, how political blockchain is, to Thessy and Reema to dialogue on. Please go ahead, Thessy and Reema.
We actually skipped Lindsay. Lindsay was going to answer that previous question.
Please, yes. Apologies.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Thessy, for that. I think that social justice for us is making sure that every user, every citizen's contributions and experience is respected and valued across our systems and technologies, and making sure that we build in the checks and balances for biases that may creep in and create unwanted outcomes. Now, I think that the really sort of prevalent thing that came to mind as Zara was talking and as Thessy and the other panelists were giving their introductions is the lived experience that we brought to our work and how that shaped our passions for what we do. And I think, just to counter, because Hayel, you said you wanted some theatrics and not to always be so agreeable. I think that to counter Zara's point, I don't think technology on its head is political. I don't think technology on its head is right or wrong necessarily. It's the people who are creating these systems that embed their preferences, biases, and desires into the systems. And I think that's what makes it dangerous. So when you're looking at things from a people technology process perspective, it is going to always miss the mark to only address the technology and only address the technology after the fact. We have to look at things in a more holistic way to be able to really move forward as a global society and as a technology community.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for these insights. Thessy, would you like to add on that and what Zara has mentioned with Reema? Please.
Yes, totally. I have to agree with both of you. Basically, Zara mentioned the distribution of power and that blockchain is political, and Lindsay brought up emerging risks and unintended consequences. And I think those 2 points are really important. And both mentioned diversity, like the diverse experience, right? And so this is really tying it nicely together. That's my work with Women in Blockchain, create more diversity, because we need to come in from many different points of views. And also my team, that's why I mentioned it's a diverse team. We have somebody from Venezuela. I mean, he knows like what hyperinflation means. People are more committed if they actually have experienced it. We are the experts in what doesn't work, right? So this is something we want to solve. And if I just may talk about the power and the power shift and whether or not a technology is political. I agree it's not by itself political, but it's a technology, Bitcoin as a first one, which is a complete full stack financial network, and the resulting offsprings of blockchain projects, more or less, allow this power shift because the structure is different, right? If you look at corporations, if you look at the corporate model, it's kind of like top down, and it's always predatory in its pursuit for dominance, right? It's a winner take all paradigm, and we have exploited oceans and lands and people, and with that kind of structure that benefits really like who exploits best. While blockchain is a kind of like a much more lateral, much more distributed, it's the whole idea, right? Decentralization of power, and people can organize. And this is something, I mean, since this is a talk about the future, and we can pick that up later, but that is political, right? So next to nation states that are top-down, and next to corporations that are also top-down, other structures will emerge, other types of communities will emerge and get stronger. And we see that in money. Money already is initially issued by the central bank, and then the government is in there. And once we remove the government from money, we make it global. So it becomes like accessible to everybody. And so everything here is political. Back to Lindsay's emerging risk comment. Yes, if we do this wrong, and if we, and wrong, and you know, in my view, wrong. Other people might not think that's wrong, but if we don't take the opportunity to actually innovate and disrupt, we are coming from, and of course, naturally everybody does, come from this old paradigm, top down, and look at it, look at cryptocurrency that way. Oh, it's an asset class. No, it's not an asset class, it's an entire system, right? And blockchain is not just like an intranet for efficiency for a bank. That's nice too, but you know, more importantly, it can provide transparency, it can open up. We can totally look at every system in a completely different way. And so this is the most disruptive technology in our lifetime. And, you know, we got to get that right. There is a lot of potential to mess up. And so I'm very passionate about getting it right.
Excellent, thank you. And we need such passion, and we need such leaders like you, Thessy, to drive this and tackle all the challenges. Putting few points together of what we discussed, and back to Reema, we will have a discussion, quick discussion with Reema for a couple of minutes before giving Zara some wrap-up notes and open this discussion for a few minutes, 5-6 minutes, if there are any Q&As. So as Jordan hosting one of the highest percentage of refugees per capita in the world, how is your venture, Reema, Galaxy, making artificial intelligence, other technologies for the people in need? And how can we make this technology for everyone else? Any advice from your side for the upcoming future skills for the kids that are your beneficiaries? Please let us know regarding these points we just mentioned. Reema.
Yes, thank you, Hayel, for this great question. Actually, as you mentioned, Jordan hosts the highest refugees percentage here in the region. And to be honest with you, after we did our research in our market, we find that there is a huge gap in the tech skills in the refugees and in the underserved communities to access even the internet and to have this kind of internet as anybody else. So our mission was to be in this kind of, to prepare this kind of young people and kids with the tech skills, especially that when we go to the underserved areas and the refugees camps, it's really it's really broken heart to see these kind of kids that doesn't have this kind of access to internet. And now after COVID-19, you know that there is a lot of schools go online and the e-learning system. So this gap of even the education, and as my colleagues and the panelists, the great panelists said, that there is no justice and there is no fair opportunities to access to this kind of internet and to access and get the basic right of e-learning, for example. So our mission was to have this kind of internet access, first of all, the things, the tools to use it during their learning journey, especially that we have a kind of initiative that how to use the old laptop from the donors and to make it again to the people and donated them again to the people in the camps, which was a great initiative that all the people here in Jordanian participated with it, especially that even if you don't need an extra laptop, you can donate it to the people in needs, especially in the underserved communities. The other thing that we found is that the gap skills each self, that there is, you have to raise awareness about the tech skills and what the market needs. So you go to the refugees camp and the underserved community to touch, just to hire awareness about the tech skills need in the market and how to make this kind of people prepared for the fourth revolution industry skills and how to make it prepared for the market need. And this is what Galaxy made that made it possible that training individual with focusing on women and refugees in the underserved communities to access and offer their services like teach them coding, teach them graphic design, teach them artificial intelligence like machine learning, deep learning, and after that we can make them as freelance and put them in our platform to work as a freelance. So this is mainly help them be able to make a profit and to make sustainable income for them. So they will be in a good shape for themselves actually. So this is what we found a need, and our solution was to train these individual with the best practice training, and after that put them after educate them and employ them to empower them with the each technical training. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Reema. Yes, please, Thessy, I need to give 2 minutes to Zara before she leaves.
Right.
Then we give you the chance to build on what Reema just mentioned. We have 5 minutes left, so we will have 1 minute to wrap up with Zara before she leaves. Then if anybody wants to add new points, we will try to squeeze in a couple of questions at the last 2 minutes. Please go ahead, Zara.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much. And sorry, Thessy, for taking your time. But to wrap up based on what we have discussed here, technology is all about, making the world a more fair or like a fairer place to live for all of us, right? To have the inclusion, to empower different genders, whether it be women, men, LGBT, whatever, whoever, and regardless of who you are, what you do, etc. And I think linking that back to the whole panel, which is the future of emerging tech, and looking where we are standing today, I think in today's world that we are living, everything is permanent until it is not. Right? So everything is recorded permanently until it is not. And as the technology evolves, from my point of view, the most profound change that is going to happen is eventually the transition from centralized internet services to decentralized ones, right? To not having to say everything is permanent until it is not, to actually have things as permanent, right? Because it's decentralized. But that will require a lot of collaborations, a lot of cooperations, a lot of, not wanting to invent the wheel from scratch again yourself, a lot of co-working, a lot of partnerships, and in different aspects, technical regulations, business perspectives, human perspectives, etc. So that is my wrap up for the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Zara. Thessy, I'm sorry to have interrupted you. Please go ahead for a minute. Then we have 2 minutes left for Q&As.
Okay, so yeah, then I give you my wrap up too. So I always like to quote William Gibson: "The future is already here, it's just not evenly distributed." So our experiences are extremely different. And what I wanted to say to Reema is, those are the people we need, right? And I know right now there's this, we have no mesh networks. They don't even have access to a lot of these things that we're talking about, right? But it will come closer together. What they know, they are the experts, like I mentioned before. So let's say we work on digital identity. I want refugees to be involved because they know the danger, they know their needs, right? If you do this in like a country like Sweden, let's say, and you feel very safe, and you record all your data, and that's a functioning democracy, that's a very different situation, and people have much less concerns than people who have experienced what it means to leave a country or be in a totalitarian government. So my predictions for the future are, like, we will have different structures based on communalities, like I said before. And we will be able to self-organize thanks to DAOs, the decentralized autonomous organizations, basically, organizations in a box, and nation states will be less important. A second point is global currency will live next to corporate fiat and central bank fiat currency, and also, currency that is just within those DAOs to incentivize that only has social value, not only that has social value. And identity, which is hugely important, it's probably the crux of everything, right, will be an address that has credentials attached to it. So it's a personal identity, but also a bot identity or a thing identity. There will be all these different types of identities, which we have already. But in the future, people will have, hopefully, if we get it right, control over their identity and over the disclosure of what they show and what they disclose where. And they can monetize it, or they can also say, I don't want to disclose something, rather than having this being the exchange when they join something like Facebook or other corporations today. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Thessy. Lindsay, would love to hear your wrap-up minute. Where you see the future of technology, where we are heading, where you're investing, what you're focused on.
Yeah, I think that my wrap-up specifically, I think around, where I see things going. I am a, practical optimist. And I think that because of what Thessy mentioned around the creation of new structures for organizing and contributing, DAOs, the restructuring of firms, the restructuring of government, and all of that being underpinned and enabled by the emerging technologies that we're using. There's immense potential to create systems that work more equitably for everyone involved. There is a Latin saying that amounts to nothing for us without us, or nothing about us without us. And I think that that is the one, takeaway that I would implore technologists, operators, policymakers to really focus in on. Think about inclusion and think about impact just as much as we think about innovation. I think when you put capital before the people, it really has consequences that are very, very hard to roll back. I think that impact is immutable. These users that are adversely affected and being left out of the systems are not just the ones being disadvantaged. It is all of our systems that are made weaker because we don't include their perspectives upfront and in a timely manner. I think that emerging tech in general is going to be all the better if we develop it in a way that ropes in many more perspectives, and not just diversity in, nationality or gender, but diversity in disciplines, like thinking through the tokenomics, thinking about traditional organizational policy and structuring, how we can innovate, knowing when to break the rules, and thinking about prior art and the lessons that we've learned from history and other people around us. So I think that because I have personally seen collaboration happen at a much deeper and more expansive level, I'm hopeful for the future of emerging tech, but always caution us to do so responsibly and with, again, impact and inclusion ahead of, the innovation, or right in line with it, to make sure that it's being done in a way that is safe for society and its users. So.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. Very insightful feedback and wrap up. Reema, would you like to take the last word? Ya Garaba, ختامها مسك.
Yes, final thing that really you have to know what is your mission in this life, and really technology is a fair opportunity for all people to reach out. And really our mission to have this kind of people in needs to serve them. It is our pleasure actually, and it is really how to prepare the new generation of our kids with the tech revolution that will affect their future. That's it. Thank you all, really. It was my great pleasure.
It was a great honor. I always proud myself that I was raised by my mother, who educated me. So it's a great honor to be a moderator, a humble moderator for such great ladies. You inspire me, you inspire millions others. Keep on doing and leading the technologies and the great initiatives and projects and investments and disruptions you're doing. You'll always be the center of this universe, and you'll always be the icons and leaders. Do not let anyone tell you you can't do it. You can do more than what anyone can do. So it's been a great pleasure, and I'm humbled to be around you today in EmTech and for everyone and for the audience. Sorry, we don't have Q&As here. Probably is the host here. Can we extend a minute or two in QAs?
We can give you 1 minute.
Any QAs here?
Yeah.
Okay. Any question from any of the participants?
Just a comment, we are decentralizing also the universe.
Exactly.
So it's not a goal.
So I always, when I teach in few business schools, I always tell my students, if I ask any questions, and I tell them, if there's no questions, there are two options. Either everybody understands more than me, or nobody understands anything.
Hi, we have two questions on the website.
Please.
The first one, are there practical applications for blockchain for insurance companies? Are these already in use by real insurance companies? And the second question, I agree, okay, this is Ruhanda comment. She's agreed we must know our mission in life, led with our passion and purpose.
Okay, that's a statement. Thank you for that statement.
That is fine. I can leave.
Thank you, Zara. Zara needs to jump on a call. It's been a pleasure, Zara.
Thank
Bye.
you so much. Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure. Bye.
Have a good evening.
Thessy, would you like to answer that question regarding blockchain in insurance? Or Lindsay?
I mean, I would, blockchain and insurance, the question is interesting because it was saying, is this already being used by real insurance companies, right? So I would like to pick up on that because yes, there is tons of efficiency technology out there for any kind of institutions, banks, insurances, anything to make things more efficient. That's one use of blockchain, not exclusive though, of also being decentralized, right? So there are decentralized insurance projects that probably won't be used by real insurances because they just function differently. They create contracts on something else, smart contracts, and automate basically insurance in a different way. So that would probably be an interesting space to explore for the person who asked the question, like decentralized finance plus insurance.
Yeah. And
well, I can add on insurance because I work with the big four, Accenture, Deloitte.
We lost you, Hayel.
I believe we did lost him.
You're there.
Hi, can you hear us?
I don't think so.
On that note.
Yeah, just to add to Thessy's point, and I know we're tight on time, so definitely one of the most sort of enriching experiences that I've had as the chair of Hyperledger's Diversity and Inclusion Group is that we see a lot of enterprise blockchain solutions at different maturity levels. So in the labs, just starting out and ideating on up to in market. And again, like Thessy pointed out, there are companies leveraging this technology across many different stages of go-to-market, but it is really important, again, with things like InsurTech that are affecting people's healthcare, that are affecting people's access to certain financial products and things like that, that we get it absolutely pixel perfect, and make sure that this is being done in a responsible way. So what I've seen both from InsurTech and other large to medium-sized enterprises releasing products like this is that they're still, you know, in phases where they're either very small scale or experimenting and looking for, you know, feedback and collaborations to make sure that they hit the, you know, that they hit the right, you know, that they hit the right mark. So definitely, if, you know, you're curious about more of our enterprise partners that are, you know, working in that area, please, you know, just take a visit to Hyperledger's website. They have plenty of case studies that you can reference and look for, and active chats that you can jump in and talk directly to the people, you know, contributing and organizing around these technologies.
Great. Thank you so much. I believe we lost Hayel. Maybe he's not able to return back, but we have to close because of the next sessions. They are waiting. I would like, on his behalf, to thank you so much. Thanks for the amazing ladies, amazing discussion. Looking forward for seeing you. All the best.
Bye.
Thank you.
Ladies,
Bye bye.
it was a pleasure.
Thank you all.
Goodbye.
Bye
Thank you.